We gather here because we feel a deep connection and responsibility to our loved ones and communities in Israel and Palestine. It's time to make our voices heard and show the people of Toronto and the Israeli government that there is another way. We must stand alongside the people living on the land, 7 million Jews, 7 million Palestinians, because no one is going anywhere. Last night, like every Saturday night in Tel Aviv, tens of thousands of people marched together, protesting and demanding the Israeli government make a deal now to end the bloodshed and return the hostages. And today we stand in solidarity with them and the families in Gaza who continue to face daily devastation and unbearable, unjustifiable loss. Many of us are seeking a platform to support the freedom and safety of Palestinian people, while also ensuring the safety of our Israeli friends and family. Standing Together provides that platform as a progressive grassroots movement mobilizing Jewish and Palestinian citizens of Israel against the occupation and for peace, equality, and social justice. Friends of Standing Together Toronto is a part of an emerging group of Canadians committed to using our collective resources and voice to support their mission on the ground and in our own communities. We now have over 500 members across Canada, and with groups in 6 Canadian cities, in Toronto, Ottawa, London, Montreal, Winnipeg, and Vancouver. We are choosing to support a better future for our families and communities, and not the actions of an army, a government, or a military occupation. Some quick housekeeping items for everyone's well-being and safety here today. So we are gathered outside the Israeli consulate to send a message to the Israeli government. Please be mindful the consulate is located inside a privately owned property, so please stay outside the building, stay on the sidewalk, and don't avoid going on the road for your own safety. So to close, I'm going to share some thoughts from the National Co-Director of Standing Together in Israel, Alon Lee Green, speaking about support from the diaspora. The best way to be a good friend to the people living on the land is to understand that people are not their governments or leaders. We have conflicts with our governments. We have hopes, fears, and traumas. And if you want to support Israelis living on the ground, you must also support Palestinians living on the ground. To ensure a good life for Israelis, we must understand and not accept this unbearable price that Palestinians pay and continue to pay for years. For Israelis to have a good life, Palestinians must also have freedom and safety. So as friends of Standing Together in Toronto here today, we say enough is enough. Enough is enough! We're standing together for a ceasefire and hostage deal now. An end to the bloodshed, an end to the occupation, equality, freedom, and safety for all. A better future for Palestinians and Israelis. Please join us. Thank you.
In between speakers, we are going to do a few chants. I am going to do the chant first so you can hear it, and then we will do it together. Our humanity is what we share. No one is going anywhere. Our humanity is what we share. No one is going anywhere. Our humanity is what we share. No one is going anywhere. Here's another. We won't let their hate divide us. Standing together, always united. We won't let their hate divide us. Standing together, always united. There is only one solution. Diplomatic resolution. There is only one solution, diplomatic resolution. There is only one solution, diplomatic resolution. There is only one solution, diplomatic resolution. Thank you.
So now I'm still introducing two of my co-organizers from Friends of Standing Together in Toronto, Miri and Yafa. So Miri is an Israeli citizen and Canadian permanent resident. She was born and raised in Jerusalem and came to Canada 11 years ago for her PhD at the University of Toronto Faculty of Law, and she teaches at Osgoode Hall Law School at York. Miriam was active with several multi-faith and peace activism groups in Toronto for the last couple of years until she found her ideological home with Friends of Standing Together when this community started last winter. And Yafa is my dear friend and co-organizer, an amazing woman here, and she has been such a force in our group, and I'm so happy to have her here today. So welcome, Miri and Yafa.
My name is Yafa Sakkejha. I'm a Canadian Palestinian. I'm here to publicly declare my support for Standing Together, a grassroots movement of Israelis and Palestinians working to achieve safety and security for both Israelis and Palestinians, working hard to achieve freedom and human rights for both Palestinians and Israelis. I'm here as a friend of Standing Together to demand a ceasefire agreement and a hostage release deal now. These are both crucial to save the lives of innocent Gazans and to bring back the Israeli hostages alive. I wish that the bloodshed ends permanently. I condemn the atrocities of October 7th. I condemn all violence that Palestinians have committed against Jews and continue to commit against Jews. I also condemn the indiscriminate bombing, killing, and starvation of Palestinians in Gaza. I condemn the settler violence against Palestinians in the West Bank. I further condemn any hate crime committed here on Canadian soil, on Turtle Island, against Jews, against Muslims. Absurd, unacceptable. It is unacceptable to target and shoot children's schools just because they're Jewish. It is unacceptable to target young girls playing in gym class because they're Muslim. All of this has to end today. Here are 4 reasons why I, a Palestinian, do not boycott Standing Together. 1, as a Palestinian, I know that we must work with Israeli society, Israeli people, to achieve our rights and freedoms, not against Israelis, not by killing Jews. 2, les citoyens palestiniens d'Israël ont des possibilités de participer à la démocratie israélienne. Standing Together aide à organiser ces gens, à les aider à voter et à renforcer la volonté politique dans la société pour exiger la fin de l'occupation militaire et l'égalité des droits humains. 3. The method of mutual solidarity has been proven to work in other conflicts in the world, such as Ireland, where 100,000 Catholics and Protestants marched in the streets together, demanding an end to violence, demanding that children live in a future where everyone lives in safety. Does anyone remember Moira Corrigan and Betty Williams, Catholic women speaking up against their own people, the IRA, at a triple funeral of children because of a clash between the British and the IRA? And they said to their own people, enough! Enough! And I say enough! Enough!
Enough! Enough! Enough! Enough! Enough! Enough! Enough! Enough!
And finally, to close, last week, I watched the Standing Together Humanitarian Guard. The Humanitarian Guard is a beautiful chaperone comprised of both a joint initiative of Israeli Jews and Palestinian Arabs wearing purple vests, escorting human beings on the land. They were escorting the aid trucks going into Gaza to make sure they get there. and I heard the most beautiful Hebrew I ever heard in my life came gushing out of the most gorgeous man I ever saw in my entire life, Elohim Great. And he spat hot fire at extremists. He said, every aid truck shall pass. And I follow Rula Daoud and Sally Abed's example, Palestinian women, to demand here to any man holding a gun who looks like he could be my cousin, the use of violence to attack innocent lives is not in my name. Thank you.
Thank you for all the volunteers who helped to make this day happen. And I want to thank you, first of all, for all of you for coming here today and participating in this rally. And I also want to extend some thanks to some of our supporters. Some could not be here today, but they asked to convey their support. I want to thank Ben Moraine from the New Israeli Fund Canada for his tremendous support. I know also that Raja Puri and Jeffrey Wilkinson are both could not attend, but they're great supporters of Friends of Standing Together, and obviously Standing Together. I want to also thank MPP Jessica Bell and Jill Andrew, who could not come here because of a schedule conflict. And oh, right, because of course, yeah, but they're enthusiastic supporters of Standing Together and Friends of Standing Together. So I want to just share with you a few words. So after October 7th, I heard many Jewish Israeli citizens saying that this was a wake-up call for them, and that they stopped believing in the possibility of an Israeli-Palestinian peace. For me, it was quite the opposite. To me, as an Israeli citizen who was born and raised on that land in Jerusalem, the horrors of October 7th and the terrible endless war in Gaza have only solidified that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict cannot be managed, that it must be solved. That the only solution to this conflict is so clearly not more wars and bloodshed, but a diplomatic solution. I think about all of the children, women, the elderly, and all the innocent lives that were taken in Gaza, and the daily suffering of hunger, illness, and injuries. I think about the victims of the brutal and sexual violence of October 7, and the hostages who are still suffering violence and terror in captivity, and those who are no longer among the living. And I wonder, what have we learned from our histories? As a daughter of a Holocaust survivor, I can understand how trauma can deeply affect people. My hope is that we can all use our own difficult experiences to develop empathy and compassion to others who suffer, to see that never again should be never again to any human being, regardless of their religion, ethnic our national identity. The political leadership of both sides has failed their people, both Israelis and Palestinians. And they continue to only incite violence and promote messianic aspiration that have become both people nightmares. Messianic aspiration that sanctify the land rather than focusing on the sanctity of life and human dignity. It is time to wake up and understand that no one is going anywhere. It is time to pick a side, the side of the people who want to live in peace, safety, justice, and equality. It is time to stand together on the side of humanity.
That we've been hearing that has felt to me like from the river to the sea, which feels like one-sided justice rather than pursuing peace for all of us. And I wonder if we could take it back by chanting, from the river to the sea, safety, peace, equality. 1, 2, 3. From the river to the sea, safety, peace, equality. From the river to the sea, safety, peace, equality. From the river to the sea, safety, peace, equality. From the river to the sea, safety, peace, equality. Woo!
Now I'm thrilled to introduce our next speaker, Professor Randall Schnoor, a sociologist. He has been teaching Jewish studies at York University since 2004, and he is an award-winning teacher and the 2024 recipient of the Louis Rosenberg Canadian Jewish Studies Award. He is passionate about Israel-Palestine dialogue on campus and is proud to be involved in the successful Bridging the Gap dialogue group at York. Welcome.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I am delighted to speak to you today about the power of empathy and compassion and dialogue on our university campuses. That is something that we are not seeing enough of, and it's an important topic. I want to tell you a little bit about the journey that I've been on at York University as a Jewish Studies professor. I've been teaching Jewish Studies for about 20 years at York, and a few years ago, I decided to broaden my horizons and to create a new course called Anti-Semitism and Islamophobia in Canada. And we have many anti-Semitism courses on campuses, but it was important for me to bring these two oppressions together because there's so many parallels there. They also can butt up against each other, and at the same time, there are many parallels. And what a course like this does is it brings Jews and Muslims and others together in the classroom, and we form friendships and trust, and that's really the foundation of where we need to go. I didn't realize at the time, but that was the start of a journey that I would be on. Because after October 7th, we all went back to campus. It was about a week later, and I was at the Hillel Lounge, the Jewish Student Association Lounge, and there was word that there was a Palestinian protest happening in our central square. So everyone's, wondering what we should do. And I said, I want to go down and I want to see what's happening. And people were saying, well, don't engage, be careful. And I just went down to the central square and I was drawn to these 4 women in hijabs with a Palestinian flag, and I just said, what do you want to say? I want to hear your story. And of course they were suspicious at first. They're not used to that from this old white professor-like figure. And she went on to tell me about her family that was bombed in the last few days in Gaza. And I just listened empathetically. And I would have liked her to mention October 7th and the pain that I was feeling, but that wasn't her agenda, and I understood that. And I listened. And other students crowded around, like, what's going on? This white guy is talking to this Palestinian woman in a hijab, and they were thinking this is a big argument, as we have many on campuses, much polarization. But this wasn't an argument. It was me listening. And she appreciated it at the end. And a lot of students came up and thanked me at the end. And that was another step for me on a journey that I'm on at York, because shortly thereafter I felt a need to bring more students together, and one by one over coffee I met with Jewish students and Palestinian students and Arab students, and there are some outstanding students on campus that are interested in respectful dialogue, and together we made it happen. It's called Bridging the Gap, and we formed a group of 6 or 8 students, student leaders, and we formed trust and friendship, and again, that is the foundation. And we have met several times at York. We have 15 to 30 students that come, and they schlep all the way from downtown, from U of T and TMU, because we have a subway now at York. It's so easy. And we are expanding out, and we're starting to give public panels at synagogues and community centers to showcase what we're doing, to show people, yes, it is possible on campuses to have respectful, empathetic, compassionate conversations. And now so many non-students are interested. And you know what? Non-students are important too. And we're inspiring people. And we're having our next event July 8th. That's going to be here downtown. You can talk to me if you're interested, and you can come on the WhatsApp group. And not everyone in Bridging the Gap necessarily supports standing together, because that is the nature of what we are. We're a diverse group where diverse views are legitimate as long as they are expressed respectfully, right? So I do not represent everyone in Bridging the Gap. I respect some, this isn't their thing, but I'll tell you that many of the leaders of our group, including me, strongly support this kind of initiative. And what we're doing with this kind of dialogue is we are laying the foundation for possible solidarity and for possible work together, which is so important. And we are humanizing the other, which is all about what we're doing here. So this has been an amazing and satisfying journey for me. I have found a role in all this trouble that I felt that I'm making a difference, and I'm bringing people together, and it's so satisfying for me. And really there is only one true solution, and that is a diplomatic resolution. I think that's a good slogan. Okay? So, resolution. There's a resolution. So we should all keep doing what we're doing, whether it's standing together or Bridging the Gap or other organizations that are similar. There is a lot of opportunity and actually a necessity to speak to each other, to solve this terrible situation that we're in. Both in Canada, as Yafa said, we have hate crimes going on against Jews and Muslims, and around the world, and in Israel-Palestine. We need to keep working together and standing together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. As someone who was a student at York from 1985 to 1999, it's great to hear that people are going now up to York, and we are the leaders. Yay, York University! No longer just the other university. Here's another chant, I think it's perfect for this, of what we heard. Those who refuse to see the other, embrace your sisters and your brothers.
Those who refuse to see the other.
Embrace your sisters and your brothers. Those who refuse to see the other, embrace your sisters and your brothers. You can see what we were doing last night. If you ever, that's right. If you would like to help out with chants, please put them in the WhatsApp thread. This one actually came from Miriam. This is the kind of thing that we do. The time has come to disarm, bring them home, end the war. The time has come to disarm, bring them home, end the war. The time has come to disarm, bring them home, end the war. The time has come to disarm, bring them home, end the war. Time has come to disarm, bring them home, end the war. No more? Oh, well, Mary told me to go for 3 minutes. I can stop. All right, we'll do one more. I'm getting contradictory directions. Stop the killing, stop the war, we don't want to fight no more. Stop the killing, stop the war, we don't want to fight no more. Stop the killing, stop the war, we don't want to fight no more. Stop the killing, stop the war, we don't want to fight no more.
Thank you, Jamie. So now I'm going to introduce two of my dear friends and co-organizers from Canada Standing Together and Toronto Standing Together. Sabrina is a dual Canadian-American citizen who grew up in Montreal. Until less than a year ago, she was living in New York for almost 2 decades before making the choice to slow down a bit and return back to Canada. While in New York, Sabrina trained to become a licensed psychotherapist, where she worked in child welfare services for several years prior to opening her own practice. Sabrina is secular and culturally Jewish and has a strong desire to work towards peace and equality for all in Israel and Palestine. It is this motivation that drew her to Standing Together, one of the only movements that she has felt comfortable joining since the start of the war in 2023.
Hi, everyone. I don't usually talk in front of big crowds, so bear with me. My name is Sabrina Tropper, and some of you may know me as one of the moderators of the Friends of Standing Together chat, and a co-organizer with Miriam Zucker of the monthly Community Education Initiative here in Toronto. As a proud member of the Jewish diaspora, I want to share my profound heartbreak about what is happening here in North America. A type of selective empathy for one side versus the other. Since October 7th and the military campaign in Gaza, the level of polarization that we have seen here in North America has been so loud and suffocating that I almost lost hope for any type of solution in the near future. Until I stumbled upon an article in the New York Times about Sally Abed and Alon Lee Green, the Palestinian and Jewish Israeli leaders of Standing Together, whose mission I felt could potentially be the antidote for the senseless violence on the ground in Israel-Palestine, and also an antidote to the hatred and prejudice that continues to fuel it. In short, Standing Together gave me hope. To me, they are an example of the kind of courage and power that only cousins who stand in solidarity with each other can accomplish. Standing Together reminds me that it is only through the recognition of each other's pain and shared humanity that this cycle of violence will end. By giving the actual people in Israel-Palestine an alternative to their current morally bankrupt leaders, an alternative that aims to end the occupation, to bring peace, equality, and social justice for everyone on the land. I have truly felt a renewed sense of hope for change from the status quo because of this movement, and I hope that you will too. To support anything else will only lead us back to where we started. Enough. It is time for a ceasefire, a hostage deal, and an end to the occupation for Palestinians and Israelis now. As Friends of Standing Together in Toronto, we have other events in the works, and we are always looking for volunteers to help us spread this message, because it is truly, I feel like it is truly the third way. It is anti-polarization, it is pro-humanity, and I really hope that you will take our message and join our WhatsApp group, volunteer in any capacity. We also need allies. So if you're interested in volunteering, please speak with one of us or join the WhatsApp group, where you can find a link to the volunteer form right over there. Thank you so much for everybody for coming out. This is not the last time we're going to do this. We're going to have many, many more, and we hope that you join us, spread the word, join our movement. This is really the only way.
And we hope to see you at our next event. Stay tuned.